Hello everyone, welcome back to the WM32Football podcast. This week we are looking at all things Premier League. We are going to be looking at the best performers, team and player wise, and also the worst performers, again, team, player wise as well. And we are also going to be talking about surprise packages, again, through teams and through players as well. So, Connor, we're going to start with the best performers.
Yeah.
Team-wise, who has caught your eye in the early stages of the season so far?
There's a couple, but obviously the standout team is Liverpool at the moment. Obviously unbeaten so far, absolutely smashing it. Obviously their unbeaten run won't last because only one team can ever be invincible in a league season. Always got to bring it back round, haven't we? So started well. Obviously their last game in the league was Sheffield United. They weren't great in that game, but they found a way to win, which is what you need to do as champions. We've seen United do in the past, City, stuff like that. Started well. Haven't looked as solid defensively as they did last year. Looks like you can get them a bit easier. We saw that in the opening game against Norwich and Arsenal as well. But they're starting to get that sort of strength back into their squad. They've still got players to come back, like at the Dons game we saw Naby Keita play, Ox play, Hendo played almost a full 90. I think he played full 90 in that game. So they're still strong in other areas, and they're waiting for players to come back, and they've started incredibly well.
They have indeed. Is then, you mentioned the Sheffield United game and the fact that they struggled. Is it just the fact that they grinded out a result, as all good teams can do? Is that then a sign for Liverpool going forward that they are capable of going to a difficult place to go and still getting the result?
Yeah, and that's what you need to do, obviously, to be league champions. Like we saw them last year, they did grind out a couple of results, but especially going away to a newly promoted side, it's always going to be difficult. We saw one of the teams we're going to speak about later lose away at Norwich, so newly promoted team. They always try, especially at home, to make it hard for the big teams coming across, because it's like the fans will get onto you, the players are like, okay, if we're only staying up for this one season, this might be the only time we play these guys at home. So we're going to put in the best performance we can. And it was quite unlucky with obviously the mistake from the keeper. But grind out results what you've got to do in this league to win titles. So could it be their year? We don't want it, do we?
Don't want to think about that, to be honest. So moving on from the best performing team to the worst performing team in your eyes, or who hasn't lived up to expectations so far?
So there's a few that actually haven't lived up to expectation. So obviously I put Newcastle as possibly going down, so I'm going to speak about them first. Obviously freshly coming off from an absolute battering from Leicester, where they weren't even at the game. Like, yes, 1-0, Isaac Hayden gets sent off, and then it just goes downhill from there. But even in the game, Leicester looked a different level above them. Yes, I believe they're only a couple of points better off than what they were last year in terms of when Rafa was there. But I said they were going to struggle because their squad isn't great anyway. They've lost their two best players going forward last year. Joel Linton hasn't looked like he's hit the ground running goal scoring wise, which they were hoping him to do. They just don't look like they were okay at defending last year. They didn't even look good at defending on Sunday. Obviously they had their very, very good result against Spurs, but they step up for those bigger games against teams like that. It's against the so-called smaller teams. I know Leicester are a slightly larger team now, that they should be going out there and pressing and putting on pressure. To lose 5-0, I understand it's away at Leicester, but 5-0 away from home is appalling at all to lose by that scoreline. But especially if you need points to be able to try and fight to stay up in this league. So it's questionable for them. Who would you say has been one of the best teams this season from your end?
Best team-wise for me, I mean, you mentioned Liverpool, the unbeaten run, grinding out results, really, really good squad depth. Obviously, they've not really changed too much from last season. It is difficult to look past them at the minute. I also think City as well, just the way that they play is you at times you just can't defend against it. You know, the width that they keep, especially high up the pitch, you simply cannot defend against it. So yeah, I think City will always be thereabouts, and whatnot. Obviously, putting Watford to all different kinds of swords the other week.
It's disgusting. It was one of the only bets I lost. I had all my bets came in. I put City 4-0 and won 8-0. Actually, kind of hurt.
Well, you could have cashed out by half time or something like that.
Well, that's the thing. I was working, so I didn't even check the scores. I just waited.
I think City again. The impressive nature of the way that they're playing. Can't really look past the top two for me at the minute in terms of the best sort of performing teams at the minute.
So, who's in your eyes so far been the worst performers in the league?
I think the team that shocked me is actually Watford. You know, last season did very, very well under Javi Grazia for large parts of the season. I was getting to an FA Cup final for them, which is massive. But I think once they got there, their form has tailed off massively. And
Maybe a hangover from that, because it was a competitive game, but the scoreline didn't obviously reflect that.
Yeah.
Like City were dominant towards the
end.
Yeah, I mean,
De Bruyne comes on, gets man of the match. He only played like 50 odd minutes or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, I think, like you say, Watford's form this season has been a massive sort of hangover from last season. Obviously, changing the manager, bringing back Sanchez Flores, who has been known to be a defensively sound and very organised coach.
Yeah.
But then, I know it's probably a bonus game for them anyway, but they go to City and get torn apart inside half an hour, and the game's away from them. I mean, you know, the quality that City can do that to anybody. But to be that out of sight that early in a game when you've just had a new manager is quite alarming for me. I think Wolves have been a team for me that I expected perhaps a little bit more from, given the form that they and the way that they played last season. I don't know if Europe is having an effect on them,
because you look at how many games they've already played this season, and we said a couple of weeks ago their squad isn't exactly like bulked. It's quite slim in a lot of areas, so a couple of injuries can ruin their squad. So is that because they've now played in Europe, played a lot of games already, and the fact their squad's been that they aren't performing as well in the league?
It could be. Obviously, you know, you turn around Thursday, Sunday, things like that. Coming back, having to start earlier in terms of, you know, a European campaign, it's never ideal. I mean, we saw last season Burnley sort of struggled with it as well.
Yeah.
But I think the only difference I'd say between Wolves and Burnley is Wolves have that extra quality. You know, with Neves, Moutinho, Raul Jimenez, even Cutrone, who I know has been a bit hit and miss at the minute, but you know, you're hoping that he can come good. But I mean, the big one for me for Wolves, I think, was letting Cavallero and Helder Costa both leave, and I was quite surprised because they've been a massive part of what Wolves had achieved going forward. You know, but even when they were in the Championship, probably two of the more outstanding players in that division. And then even in the Premier League last season, they looked, especially Helder Costa, he looked quite dangerous going forward, and could cause teams a few problems.
But it's like Wolves' trump card at points last season was playing Traore right wing back, and it's like in games where they're like struggling to get out there, and normally bang him on, throw him on. They've been starting him in games because they've needed something different. So you can tell it's not a lack of thought process, or like, it's just a fact of they might just be like, players are tired, they played a lot of games. There's I think a lot of people are reading into Wolves being so poor at the start of the season.
Yeah.
In a bit too much, because they played a lot of games. Obviously, did overperformed last season. Yeah,
considering, you know, newly promoted team and whatnot. I think Diogo Jota's key for them. He gives them a lot going forward, like a lot of energy, and you know, he instigates presses and things like that. But I don't. Obviously, Nuno is very set in the way he plays. You know, with 3 centre halves and things like that. I wouldn't suggest a change in style, perhaps, because it's got them into Europe. But I think Wolves have just surprised me a little bit. Just the fact that they've been a bit stuttering in their start. for me anyway. I know you wanted to mention Everton
Yeah.
and their start.
See, Everton are one of those clubs, like, they're a club that no one seems to hate because of just who they're not a threat to anyone, but, like, their transfers are poor. They're, especially recently, letting, like, Alamana Lookman go, keeping Theo Walcott. How that man, don't get me wrong, he's probably one of the loveliest guys in football, but he's past it. He's been past it since about 21. And a couple others, like bringing in like players like Czechtos and a couple seasons ago, bringing in about 20 number 10s in one season, didn't help them, and they just underperformed all season. They haven't played well. Obviously, City going there, you'd expect them to put up a bit more of a fight than what they did, but City rocking up in whatever that lollipop kit was, they had to perform because you're getting mocked if you get turned over.
Yeah, I think I've read a few things about that City kit. It's almost like a cocktail you get on holiday and by the pool in Spain or something like that. But I think for me, regarding Everton, like you say, their recruitment's been a bit hit and miss, or very hit and miss. Like you say, bringing in like Tosin, who hasn't hit the ground running at all.
Like they've got a couple of good players in, like Richarlison, but where you don't want to play Richarlison through the middle. Personally, I play him on the left where he can drift in, because that's where he's a lot more dangerous. Obviously, I love Iwobi. Iwobi's my guy. Great defensively. He's okay going forward. He's not going to score you 15, 20 goals a season. He's not going to get you 15, 20 assists a season. He's going to get low teens in both, if not put together. Their midfield just doesn't seem to function because Sigurdsson last season was bottom for passes and touches in the middle section and the defensive section of the pitch, but highest key passes for Everton in the final third. So he will not touch the ball until he gets into that final third.
Well, good, because that's where you want him, really.
That's where you want him. But when you're a side like Everton, you can't afford to have that luxury player when you need your whole midfield working, and letting Idrissa Gueye go for 40 million in the summer, not getting an actual proper replacement.
I think they got that Gababin
in
who could potentially. I think they've obviously brought him in to try and fill that particular role. So Brian Fabian Delph.
You look at it, it's like he was making 9 tackles and interceptions a game. That's up there with Wilfred and Ndidi as absolutely mental. Like, no one should be able to do that in a game other than Wan-Bissaka against Southampton, making 12 tackles. Just tackles. That's outrageous. So he's gone. They've lost that massive defensive output because Andre Gomez, obviously coming in from Barca, wasn't massively defensive last year, but his numbers look better because of Gay. Schneidlin past his best. Sigurdsson's not going to do anything defensively, which fair enough. Like, you want him further forward, I get that. But when you're missing a player like Gay, you need those players to put in a shift back. That's why I think they brought in Iwobi. But it's hard when you're new into a club to be able to do what you did last season, because he was Arsenal's top for key passes, top for chances created, and one of our best defensive players. And we were shocking defensively. Like, and you've seen the drop off this season with not having someone running back from the wings because Pepe isn't going to defend, Aubameyang isn't going to defend, Laka will. But to have that extra player to help, you've seen the drop off at Arsenal, and but he hasn't been able to do it at Everton because. Yeah, again, he's not Wan-Bissaka. He can't do everything.
So moving on to surprise packages.
So
then in terms of teams, who really has caught your eye so far this season?
So surprise packages. I'll do one good, one bad.
Go on then.
As surprise packages. Surprise packages, good. West Ham. I know this one hurts you a little too much. But bringing in players like Pablo Fornals, phenomenal player last year in Spain, been great when he started this season. They've got Yarmolenko coming back, who was great against United. You've got Cresswell, who just is great on a dead ball with a very decent left back. You've got obviously Felipe Anderson, who when he was at Lazio played more number 10 or Roman 8 role, where he was putting up the highest defensive work in as a midfield player in the Serie A, as well as a high attacking output. Now he's playing on the left. He's still putting out that high defensive work rate, but yet bringing out a higher class of through balls, shots, getting decent attempts as well. It's not even like he's doing what Coutinho did at Liverpool, which I absolutely hate, just getting the ball from 30 yards and just absolutely whacking it and hoping. When you've got runners in front of you, he's picking the right passes, he's doing the right things. He's also got a little bit of flair that like every West Ham fan loves. It gets on the ball, he does something, son. Like, he'll get on it, he'll do something, and it gives him something extra as well. As well as Pablo Fornal's a great player. Mikel Antonio can come in and out. See, Jack Wilshere, when he's fit, 3 games a season, can do stuff. Like, they've got a good team, and even Fabianski has somehow become a half-decent keeper since leaving Arsenal. Couldn't catch a cold at Arsenal, and now he was phenomenal against United. United didn't create that many chances, but still, he was phenomenal against United. Surprise packages going the opposite way. Tottenham, for me. Obviously, we spoke about their great transfer business in the centre of the park. Poor letting... Well, I understand why you let Trippier go, but not to get in a proper replacement over, like, in the 20s and the millions, 20 million, around that sort of ballpark area. I obviously spoke to you about this. Kane is still a world-class striker, and I hate to say it, but before the World Cup was averaging 6 or 7 shots a game. This year, last season dropped to 4, so you're going, okay, his numbers have dropped, he's still a good striker. Now he's averaging 3.5 to 4.2 shots per game in the Prem and Champions League. Even only getting 2 shots against Olympiacos. He scored more of his goals coming from penalties. And I know you're going to say, at least he can score from 12 yards. More of his goals coming from penalties than ever before. People going, he's dropping back to create more chances, but no one in that Spurs side is scoring extra goals because he's dropping back. Plus, he's always done that. He's always created chances for other players. So I don't think that's an excuse. I think it's injuries are starting to take his toll, and not having a proper backup is hurting not just him, but the squad in general. Whatever's gone on behind the scenes with Eriksen and apparently Jan, we don't know. Not going to try and get into that. That's a conversation for another time. But defensively, you don't look as good as what you did. Like, you're conceding on average 16 shots a game. Arsenal on average conceded 18.7 shots a game, and a lot of people went, Arsenal conceded 96 shots in the first few games, and you're there going, that's poor. But to only be for Spurs to have conceded 30 something again, or it might have just been 30 against City, 26 against Arsenal, and it's not like they're giving up bad opportunities, they're giving up high quality opportunities where people should be scoring more goals, and City should have won that game, and Arsenal possibly should have won that game because of the chances they got. So you look into it and you go, you're giving high quality chances away, you're giving a lot of chances away. Obviously, you are, whatever's going on behind the scenes, like, bear in mind, Poch has always been able to go, something's happened behind the scenes, I will fix it, and just fixed it. Like, there's always been some rumblings that's happened that he's fixed, and he'll be able to do it again because, as I said, one of the best managers in the world. But the question is now, is what is this Tottenham side going to do this season? Because obviously getting to a Champions League final, is there a hangover from losing the Champions League final? That's a question for that squad. Is the squad unhappy over certain things in training or certain things that happened outside? I don't know, but they are obviously got absolutely handled by Bayern Munich the other night. Lost away at Leicester. No, lost away at Leicester. Drew to Arsenal and City. If you look back at the end of the season, you finish top 4, and you go, we got a point away at City, a point away at Arsenal. They're good points, but if you finish outside the top 4, being 2-0 up at Arsenal and drawing, you go, that's 2 points lost. City's different. Like, City are a different league. So for me, I expect them to be higher up and challenging, especially with the signs of Lo Celso and Ndombele, and especially with keeping Sonaldo, because he's absolute. Love that man. Hate that he plays for you as well. He's so good. But yeah, those were my surprise packages, as well as a good side and a poor side. What about you?
I think the team that has surprised me probably the most in terms of the bad aspect is probably Everton. Looking in the summer, their transfer business, like we mentioned, with bringing in Delph, sort of winners mentality, having been at City for the past couple of years, winning multiple trophies, and Gababin probably had to bring in those two players are arguably there to sort of fill the void left by Idrissa Gueye. Moise Kean coming in from Juventus, and everybody was buzzing about this particular signing. I know it might just take him a little bit of time to get back
to bed into the squad.
and get in, but Everton have been crying out for an out-and-out number 9 for the past couple of seasons, so it's almost, look, you got to come in and you've got to hit the ground running straight away. He has looked like a threat, which is going to be a positive, I think, for Everton moving forward, and he is still very young.
Yeah.
But again, I expected to see a bit more from Everton. I know they were after Zuma, obviously after having him on loan last season, but I think Frank's, he's played him in for Chelsea in league games and stuff.
I do like how the Everton fans have taken to Moise Kean as well. Obviously, we saw the banner at the weekend standing up for him with the whole racism side that's happened with him over the last few months.
Yeah,
they've taken to him well, and I think they'll give him a little bit of time because he is very young.
Yeah.
So he's going to have time to adapt. Like you see it with like players like Henry when he came over to this country. It took him good 8 to 10 games to bed in.
Yeah.
Drogba obviously hit the ground pretty quick running. We're looking at him. He's going to be alongside Everton. He's going to be at Everton for a while because when you sign for a club like a middling club like Everton, West Ham, and Leicester, you're at that club for a while because no one's going to go in for you because they're going to have to pay a lot of money to get you out. And he's good in the air, he's good with his feet, quick, strong. He is going to be, when he hits the ground running and he gets going quickly, like goals will come. He will turn into a class player. Yeah, definitely. And like I say, he is still very young, but I think, like I say, with Everton, they've been crying out for one ever since they sold Lukaku, and it's not quite. They've not quite found that right formula. So but like I say, Moise Kean should come good eventually. I think a team that surprised me from a good perspective, I think, is Sheffield United. Yeah. I think the way that they have played has been brilliant. I'm loving Chrissy Wilder's interviews at the minute because they literally no chill, no filter. He's just saying it how it is, and it's just brilliant, and it's so refreshing. It's a bit like Ian Holloway back in the day. Yeah, and even Roy Keaton to a certain degree as well. But I like the way they play. Obviously, they've been set in this way of playing since League One. With the 3 centre backs, but you've got overlapping centre halves, which is a very rare thing. When you play 3 at the back, to have your centre backs going beyond your full back or your wing backs is very rare. Yeah. And they've actually they're here and they're having a go. Yeah. You see quite a few teams that are promoted. It's like, right, we've got to try and stay in games first. Yeah. And then if it hits 70 minutes, right, then we'll go for it. Whereas, Wilder and Sheffield United, they're going at it pretty much straight away. And whatnot. They had some really, really good chances against Liverpool, and they probably should have scored. And Wilder coming out and saying that they should have scored and whatnot. Again, was refreshing to hear. There's a mistake by the goalkeeper Henderson, and he's called him out on it as opposed to defending him. That can either go one or two ways. I'm hoping it goes the right way and it gives Henderson a bit of a kick up the backside to get him going again. Because obviously he's got aspirations to play for Man United, because obviously he's on loan at Sheffield United. So he wants to play for Man United, he wants to be our number 1, and wants to play for England. And Chris Wilder saying if he wants to hit that level, he can't be dropping clangers like he did on Saturday last week. But yeah, no, Sheffield United have surprised me the way they've gone, and just they have been good. They obviously going away to Stamford Bridge as well, getting a result there. Massive result for them. Like, when you go away to those big teams, you don't expect to get something. But to pick up points there, and obviously they're obviously going to make their home ground a fortress, and they were unlucky against Liverpool. So yeah. So surprise players, good and bad. Who would you say? Well, I'm going to start with the bad one. Serge Aurier for me.
one of the biggest liabilities I think I've ever seen. Not only just in a Spurs shirt, but just generally. He come to Tottenham from Paris Saint-Germain with this massive reputation, and he has not delivered at all. So hot-headed. I was at the game against Southampton, and his second yellow card, or both his yellow cards actually. He doesn't need to make those challenges. The first one, he's absolutely wiped the guy out and scissored him, but the play's going nowhere. So why do you need to make that foul there? The second one, he's just pulling him back, and he doesn't particularly need to. His head goes very, very quick. He must have the shortest fuse of any person going, because his head just goes.
Well, that's the thing. He's always had this. It's almost like a chip on his shoulder, because at PSG, when he called out the coach on like a live stream saying whatever he said about him, got sent off there. Like a couple months before he signed for Spurs, the house tour was showing off Arsenal shirts, and you're there going, all right. Like he openly admitted that where he wanted to go. Then when he signed for Spurs, it was sort of this. Whatever he did was a problem because he was doing it for the wrong reason. So going into challenges, getting sent off, doing incredibly stupid stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge he done on Alaba midweek, he's lucky not to get a red card for that. And
it's assault.
It literally is. It's just people in the streets have been charged with less for that. And I mean, I wouldn't. He's meant to be a defender. I wouldn't trust him to defend me in a court of law. Like he's honestly, he wanted out in the summer and it didn't happen. Grant, right? So you wanted to leave, you didn't get your wish, but still be professional enough.
Yeah,
and
like you look
still
at
give
Ericsson
your best, and
when he's been on the pitch as being class for you, and he openly admitted to wanting to leave.
But with Aurier, it's wow. Tottenham need a right back. Tottenham need a right back desperately now, because he's proven he cannot be trusted. I think Pochettino's gone, right, I believe in you, I trust in you. Go and prove why I should, and he's proven that why we shouldn't have trusted in him, and probably got rid of him in the summer and just made it happen, whatever the price is. But in terms of a surprise package, in terms of a player from a good perspective, I think it's quite hard not to look past James Maddison.
Yeah.
I think it's so hard not to look past it. Obviously, most chances created in the Premier League last season, as we all know. Finally got a call up to the England squad.
Well, we did get one last year. He didn't play, and also didn't play this year.
But he is proving that he has the capabilities to play for a club in the top six, 100%.
Also, I love him on social media. Do you see his tweet back at the Sun?
Yes, he's good on social media, is Maddison as well. But I mean, his quality is just coming through, and he's a real key player for Leicester, making them tick. Getting on the ball, feeding Vardy.
Him and Tielemans have been playing together since January, and it's like they were separated at birth. They're so good together. It's
I think as well, Vardy is flourishing from Maddison's performances and output, because Maddison's literally just getting the ball and like, right, can I find Vardy? Whereas, when Leicester won the league, I know it was from slightly deeper positions, but it was Drinkwater that was finding Vardy.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's Maddison's finding him further up the pitch, so he's creating more. He's creating more goal scoring opportunities.
And also,
at least
he's helping the players like Harvey Barnes bed into the squad properly, because his performances have picked up since Maddison's been there. Obviously, Tielemans setting in straight away. He's also good defensively. He's not just good offensively. He's good on the back foot, going backwards. He's good like that.
Yeah. Who would you go for then in terms of player wise surprise package?
Surprise package. It's gonna be a Leicester player for my best, Soyuncu.
Okay.
Or the man's face is literally a shield, so you know he's gonna be good. Lord Farquhar as well.
Yeah.
Had that one a few times.
Yeah.
He's been quality. To be fair, he only got 8 appearances last year after he signed for 19 million. This year, coming in for when Harry Maguire's gone off to United, and he looks like he's been playing there his whole career. He's so comfortable on the ball, obviously great defensively. He doesn't look out of his depth in any of the games either. And he just seems to be so calm on the ball, but he looks like he would kill you.
Yes. Yeah.
Like there was an interview, I think it was with Ben Chilwell. Tubes did it, and he was like, like who's the scariest guy? He was like Siunku, because he'll do something to you that will hurt you and he'll laugh at you.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Chilwell saying he just likes to inflict pain on on people.
So yeah, he's a proper defender. He's like from the school of Vidic.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't care what it takes, he will defend, which I would kind of like at my club. And worst, I was gonna pick Aurier before you did. It's hard because
I can give you Aurier if you want. You can have Aurier if you really want to.
No, I'm fine, mate. I'm gonna have to pick from my own house, probably. It's probably Granit Xhaka.
What does he do? What does he do?
Now club captain. Don't get me wrong. What I've been told from him training, like he's obviously helped Kieran Tierney bedding quite well. He's the lead off the pitch, just on the pitch he doesn't do anything. I don't understand what he does. Like squareward passes, lack of game management, lack of wanting to win a game, lack of leadership in a game, lack of common sense. It's just a lack of everything. He's probably a lovely guy, and he is actually a good footballer. Like when he signed, I was like buzzing that he signed. He is a good footballer on the ball. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's not a captain. He's probably been given the captaincy because obviously the players picked him, they like him, they look up to him. But also the fact unless he's suspended, he is the first name on that team sheet. He's probably picked before Aubameyang's picked, right? And this proved my point in the United game. I was out with Mrs. and a few of her mates for some quiz, and I had the football on. So one of the guys there was an Arsenal fan, and it come to McTominay, and I was like, he's gonna hit this. He's hit it, and Xhaka stands still. He's a big lad. He's 6 foot plus. He's a big lad. It hits him. He ducked. I'm sorry, but if you're playing against any team and you're captain of like a club, I don't care if the ball hits you in the face. I don't care if it pops your nose. Just stop it going in. Matic, as I said to you, Manja Vidic, as I said to you, like reminds me. Siunku is from that breed.
Yeah.
He used to say, I don't care if like I break my nose, knock a tooth out. If I can see the goal because I've ducked out the way, I will be living in shame because of that. Players now go, if the ball hits me in the face, it's going to hurt, or it might pop my nose, or might knock a tooth out. Like, so he's scared of doing it. Don't get me wrong, I do like him as a player, but this season he's been so poor. And obviously Mustafi hasn't played, so I can't really slate him. But yeah, he's just been questionable at best.
So we've gone on surprise package in terms of players.
Yeah.
Best and worst, and like you say, surprisingly. Who would you say has been the best player in the Premier League this season?
It's got to be Madders. There isn't a better midfielder, better play. Well, obviously De Bruyne, actually. Oh, it's a tricky one now. Yeah, but I'd say, especially from the English point of view, Madders. Because he's class. Everything he does just oozes class. It's him or De Bruyne for me, because De Bruyne is just a different gravy, isn't he?
Not bad. He's not bad. He's the player that I'm going for. I mean,
I'll pick Madders then.
Watching the highlights from the Watford game, and it's literally a case of tell me where you want the ball, I will find you and I will put it where you want it. I mean,
reminds me of Kimmich on Tuesday.
Well, you know, De Bruyne, it's just one of the crosses that he's put in, you cannot defend it. You simply cannot defend it.
The way he puts the ball in, it's put in so well. No matter who touched it, it's ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Like, you literally cannot miss from his crosses. And if you do, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, I think
it's so good.
You know, obviously missed a lot of last season, De Bruyne through injury, and it looks like he's coming back with a vengeance, really.
He played 900 league minutes last year, as we pointed out on the first podcast, and the fact he only played 900 minutes and still was man of the match in the FA Cup final, got a fair amount of goals and assists in that time, and then he's come back this season, and he's just gone, I'm absolutely just going to rip up the rule book.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely. So moving on then from the best in the league
to the worst.
to the worst.
Worst player in the league this season. Can't look past any of your right back choices, can you? Well, sorry, Aurea. Just shambolic from him. Nemanja Matic, because one, barely played, and when he has played, has looked poor. But that's a good bit about how the season's gone. There hasn't been too many standout poor players, other than Sergio Aurea. But yeah, for me it's Aurea. Just liability.
See, for me, I'm going to go with your boy Granit Xhaka. Because I just think every time I watch him, I still don't know.
Both of the choices here are walking red cards.
Yeah, the derby, how Xhaka ended up giving so many different fouls away, and
18% of Arsenal's fouls in the first 5 games of the season was Xhaka against Tottenham.
yeah, that alone says everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Pretty much. He has not lived up to expectation in his time at Arsenal. I don't think. Like you say, no one knows what he does. Nobody knows what he does. He's not one that will dictate play. He's not one that will break up play. He's not one that will go and score goals.
He's got a ping, and that's all he's known for. It's like he can get the ball, ping it, good, well done. That's why you need Guendouzi and Torreira around him, because he can't defend. He can't go forward. He can stand in about a 5-yard space and ping. Like, that's about it.
But for me, it's just
He cost me.
I don't understand.
35 million.
I don't understand Granit Xhaka, and I think he's probably been one of the worst performers that I've seen, if not the worst in the Premier League.
Yeah.
In the Premier League.
There's a
this
few
season.
standouts that I want to give a shout out for. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka is unreal.
Yeah, there's a reason why your wingers don't like him.
It's like people say to me, "Oh, Scott McTominay is a good midfielder, a good defensive midfielder." He's not. He's actually not, because he's not a high volume passer like Winks. He's not good going forward, like just not good going forward. Apart from his goal against Arsenal.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good. But doesn't create a high volume of passes. No good keep pass numbers. Not good dribble numbers. Not good shot numbers. And his defensive numbers. Paul Pogba's putting up 6 to 7 tackles and interceptions a game. Scott McTominay's 3. Wan-Bissaka in one game alone made 12 tackles. That was against Southampton. He's averaging around 9 tackles and interceptions a game. For your defensive midfielder to put up the least tackles and interceptions out of any of those 3 is abysmal. It's an embarrassment as a defensive midfielder. Like, it's not on. So obviously Wan-Bissaka for making United have a defence gets my shout out. That would be like, it's just.
I think for me, a shout out as well. Probably a player that we probably should have mentioned is Dan James at Man United.
Yeah.
I think coming from the Championship to a top 6 club like Man United who demand success every game. They demand winning all the time. They have that winning culture, and to come in and probably be United's best player so far this season says a lot about him. Still very young as well, rapid as well.
Boy.
So he is going to scare some fullbacks this season. I'm looking forward to seeing him up against Danny Rose. That's for sure.
Oh no, put him on the side where Aurier is. It's red card central.
No. Please, Juan Foyth, be fit for that one. Please. But yeah, for me, Dan James.
With United fans, like, I don't think that they understood the fact that he would drop off. Like, scoring 3 goals in 3 games is class. Overperformed expected goals, as we said before. But he's still he might not score, but he's not going to score 20 goals this season. I don't think anyone in that United team is going to score above 15. So to score 3 very early on, But the thing is, he's constantly performing well. It's not just goals; he's constantly performing well. So that's a great shout. To be fair.
Yeah, with Dan James, and also I want to say from a surprising perspective, Danny Rose, who
Which way is this going?
can't really defend, to be honest. And this is probably gonna kill me. It kills me seeing it as a Spurs fan, and other Spurs fans may now pick up on this. Is that Danny Rose defensively is not the greatest. He's nearly 30 years of age.
Years.
He cannot defend against the back post either. There's so many times when the ball is on the right hand side or the opposition's left, it gets put in, or especially against City. But if you look at the games against City, especially the amount of times they put the ball across the box, Danny Rose is turning round, and then Bernardo Silva or Raheem Sterling is in, and they've scored.
Absolute chasing shallows, mate.
Even against Southampton, I think last season one of the goals, he's actually stepped over the ball to turn, and the Southampton players just hit it and it's gone in. But yeah, Danny Rose defensively has gone backwards.
I think we need to stop talking about Tottenham because it's going to hurt you soon.
It will do.
That's a separate podcast.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I just wanted to say Danny Rose surprising me with his defensive
lack of ability,
or lack of, should I say? Yeah, defensive ability. Right then, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to give it a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe as well.